claims to order at 6:45. And we have a guest this evening, Mr. Jacoby.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jack Jacoby, 15 Prince Street. We wanted to take this opportunity to update the City Council tonight. We have now completed our 4th year of construction of the high school, and we're going into the 5th and last. And so at this point, inside the building, we're just about finished. The final punch list and back-ordered items are being installed very much this week, so we should be pretty much finished. But there's a lot of exterior work to go on, and so we wanted to let you know, because there will be some traffic issues this summer because of all the work that's being done, both on the roadways and on the playing fields. So we wanted to let you know so that if your constituents asked questions, you would have some answers. We also wanted to make sure that the public who might be watching this would also have the opportunity. So what I'd like to do is ask Corey Wild from Consigley Construction to come up and to explain to you what it is that's going to happen between now and December and how this might impact residents in need to travel in that area.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. As Jack said, my name's Corey Wild, a project manager with Consigley. Glad to be here. So this is the press release that we put out a few weeks ago, just kind of highlighting some of the large activities over the next year. I do want to note there is one minor change to this current list. Is we had previously noted that the tennis courts would be available for use at the end of August. Unfortunately, the court surfacer bumped us a month, so we will not be turning over the tennis courts until the end of September. But they will be available after that for use by the public, and then eventually for the spring season for tennis. I've provided a couple still shots of kind of the current view of the construction site, just so you guys can get an idea of kind of what it looks like currently. I don't know how often you guys drive by, but this is a shot kind of over our trailers along Rathburn Willard Drive, overlooking the softball and soccer field. You can see there's a building that we're wrapping up right here. This is called the outbuilding, which will house the irrigation system as well as some athletic storage. We're wrapping that building up currently. The brick was just finished, the roof is on, and there's some, finished details to complete in there. This view is kind of from the Capron Park Bushy Street entrance, and as you can see, this is the start of the tennis courts. So there's 3 courts here, 2 courts here, 1 court here, 2 courts here, and then eventually there'll be a basketball court right here. And this is the new Bushy Street lot, which will be called Lot D. And it will connect the bus loop to the Bushy Street, just like it was before. Little different configuration, but same connection. So currently, right now, everyone is coming in the bus loop here off of Rathburn Willard. So there is no connection currently from Bushy Street, but in the final condition at the end of August, that connection will be opened back up. I know the school is still kind of figuring out how to deal with this connection to the actual bus loop, if parents that want to drop off or buses, if they'll still continue to use this entrance to not kind of have a traffic jam here. But that would be up to the school to kind of figure out how they want to deal with the traffic on campus. And then right here, this is your future baseball field. So that will take up that whole area. We are about 100-ish feet away from the current stadium to protect from foul balls and whatnot. But that's the plan there. There will be also a multi-purpose field, lacrosse, field hockey, that will be right here. And then, like I said, softball and soccer at the north there. Now getting into kind of the work that's going to be happening outside of our site, starting this week, we started the rotary work. So if you drove by today, you would see in the middle of the rotary there is several orange jersey barriers creating the loop around this inner circle. So we met with the chief and Mike Tyler, go over this plan with them. We're going to start, there's a concrete masonry wall in the middle that acts as a pedestal for the 10-foot illuminated A that eventually goes in the rotary. And because there is so much work associated with this rotary, we wanted to get a head start on it, just because it is a little condensed schedule over the summer. So we've ripped up this middle section here. We have temporary jersey barriers creating the rotary, so it is in use as a rotary currently and will remain until the rotary is 100% finished. And we will be putting in the granite curb, this raised concrete wall, and the kind of interior landscaping we're gonna starting this week and continuing throughout the summer. Once school is out, we'll start going after the outer circle as well as these islands. And this material is kind of like a cobblestone material, so it will be flush with the asphalt, but it will act kind of like a rumble strip. So any trucks, buses that have a hard time making this turn, they can still drive up on that, but it's really not meant to be driven for regular vehicular access. So, if you have a chance, drive by, check it out. I did it before coming here. I just sat and watched some cars use it. It seemed to be going okay. I know it will be a little bit of a learning curve, which is another reason why we wanted to get it started early, to allow students and parents to get used to it for a couple months before the end of school, so that when they come back for the new school year, it's not a new thing that they're trying to experience and figure out. And we will have a couple police details over the next week, just kind of monitoring that, making sure access is going okay. Any questions on the rotary? Yeah, Kelly.
On those the islands around the four roads that come come in, are those also flush with the ground?
Yes.
And they will act as like a rumble strip as well?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Same material as that that outer circle.
Thank you.
Flush cobblestone, so it can be plowed over, but it will really be a deterrent to want to drive over that.
Okay.
And there will be rotary signage going in, yield signs, rotary ahead, one-way signs. There are some temporary ones up right now, but there'll be permanent ones. We also we procured a couple of those highway digital signs that we're gonna set up this week to just let people know, one, either avoid the rotary or just make them aware that the rotary is in place, so that it's not a surprise as they come down Rome Boulevard or Rathburn Boulevard.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, so there will always be a lane open, but if you have the choice to avoid that and avoid the construction site, we'd recommend it.
So that's the rotary. The next thing that we'll be starting is, once school is out, we'll be starting the bus loop. I'm going to call it rework. So last summer we put temporary asphalt down in this teardrop bus loop. So once students are out, teachers are out, we're going to take over that back parking lot and the bus loop. So this will not be accessible for the duration of the summer. We need to remove all that temporary asphalt, and then there is 8 inches of concrete that goes down in that entire loop. That's about the full 8 weeks of the summer to place all that concrete. So that we've communicated to the school and summer camps and whatnot that any buses, parent drop-off will have to use the front of the building, and which they have no problems with because the volume is a lot less over the summer. But we will be back here getting this bus loop finalized with the finished concrete. Any questions on that? Okay. The next thing that we will be doing is we will be milling and reclaiming the existing asphalt along Rathburn Willard Drive and this little connector here along Drummond Field. So we'll be milling down the road, reclaiming some of that asphalt, doing some finished grading work, raising all of the manholes, catch basins, whatnot, and then we will be putting a final finished coat of asphalt down. So the plan is to start towards the end of July, with the plan of being complete by August 18th, which is the following week is when teachers come back. So again, we'll have plenty of police details out there. There will always be a lane open to let the residents, get to their streets on Green and Burnt and those streets along Rathrum Willard. But we'll probably keep those highway signs to deter the cut-through traffic, to eliminate as much cut-through traffic as possible. Again, we've reviewed this with the chief and with Michael Tyler, with the DPW, so they're all planned. So that's about a 3-4 week process, for 2 weeks of milling and 2 weeks of paving, with line striping to follow after that. And then kind of in conjunction with that work, we will be repaving all the current parking lots that have been turned over and have been used over the last 6 to 10 months. So we put down temporary binder, or just the binder course, with the intent of doing a finished paving coat this summer, so that all the parking lots are uniform once we turn over the building or the full campus. So there wouldn't be 6-month-old asphalt and 8-month-old asphalt and a year-old asphalt. We wanted to make it look uniform when we turn over this campus to the city. So we will be starting in Lot A. Again, towards the end of July, early August, we'll take over that parking lot. The front lot and Lot B will be available for parking for central offices and anyone else using the building. Once we complete Lot A, we'll move everyone over to use Lot A for their primary parking. We'll do the parent drop-off loop and Lot B, and then we'll finish with Lot C, and then Lot D we'll finish pave. Yes.
So is the parking lot across the street part of Consiglia's scope of work as well? And I assume that's going to be the last thing you take out.
Yes, we are currently
Talking
planning.
about the Highland?
Yes.
Yeah, so been talking with Gary Rajan and the mayor both about this, and by the time that we're probably ready to take that out, it's going to be probably too late in the year to plant grass. So we're thinking that will come out next spring, because you don't want to leave a mud hole or a dust bowl. You want to make sure that when you take it out, you can plant the grass right away. So it's probable that will be a year from now when that parking lot gets taken out and the grass gets planted again.
So that's year 4.
5.
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as Gary Rajan always said, there's no such thing as a temporary parking lot. There's just
This one is.
just
Yeah.
parking lots that change over time.
This is a temporary parking lot, Jack.
Call it what you want, it's coming out.
It's,
Has been since it was created.
yeah, I understand, but what Gary's point was that everything has a time frame associated with it.
Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah, no problem. So in short, all the parking lots, the Rathrum Willard repaving and the connector, as well as the new Lot D parking lot, those will all be 100% paved, line striped, and available for use come August 18th. So ready for teachers, students, and the start of this new school year. And as I said earlier, we will continue to work finishing the tennis court, so they'll be paved. They'll have the fence up. The finished paint part of it will still be going on into September. And then all the field construction will continue into the fall. So we can't plant grass or sod until after August 15th, because that's when the growing season starts. So starting August 15th, we will start the sod and the hydroseeding and the field construction work. A lot of the hardscape, the dugouts, the fencing will all be up, but the actual planting of the grass, establishment of the grass will continue through November, and we will likely need the spring growing season to come back and do some fertilizer, some slice seeding to make sure that grass fully comes in and is accepted by the landscape architect. So the fields, while they might look complete this fall, they will not be ready for use until the summer of '24. So they might look, available to play on, but if they were played on, it would kill the grass because it hasn't had enough time to establish. We will also take this fall to get the irrigation system up and running, tested, programmed, ready to go. The 2 irrigation wells have been drilled, and we are working on getting the tank set in a couple weeks and get that system going. Any questions on the fields? Yeah, Kelly.
Not on the field specifically, but you mentioned the August 18th timeline a couple of times to be 100% done with the parking. And I was wondering what kind of time contingency is built into that, how much, for weather-related events and delays that might occur.
Yeah, we always build in some contingency in time. So that we have about 4 to 6 days afloat in that schedule to allow for weather days. We can also do a lot of the line striping on Saturdays and Sundays, off hours, stuff like that. So they actually prefer to do that on off hours. So we're confident that we can hit those dates. And actually, the Lot D will be putting the binder coat down in 2 weeks. So if you saw in the picture, we already have a lot of the curbing in place. So all that finished curbing is in place already. So we don't have much more work to do before we can put the initial binder coat down for that parking lot. Any other questions on the timeline or remaining work?
Looks great.
Just want to thank you for the opportunity to come in and explain this, because as I said, you guys pay the bills, so certainly want to keep you informed, but we also want to make clear to the public what's happening, when it will be happening, and I'm sure you'll get phone calls from constituents, and at least you'll have the information available to you, and as always, if you get to me, I'll make sure somebody answers you. You can also get to Corey directly at Consigli. We just want to make sure that the public has all the information they need.
Oh, the timeline looks great. Looks great. I'm glad we're waiting to make sure the lawn gets in good. Nothing like a crappy lawn.
Yes, definitely. Especially for those sports fields.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we're putting that, it's awful you have to put it off, but it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, and if before the lawn gets established, people are out there with cleats, they can just tear it
Tear
up.
it right up, yeah.
And then you know what happens when it gets torn up, the crabgrass and the weeds take its place. So we want to be careful with a large investment.
And just to your point, we're not going to have our construction fence up, but we will have like the orange snow
I was
fence
going to ask you.
to try to keep people off of
Everybody
the
off.
field. Yeah.
Great,
And all the security cameras in the parking lots are working and
Sure.
functional. So
super. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other, everybody set? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
Jack.
coming.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. That's all the city property and claims has this evening. I'd like to adjourn at 7:04.
Just all in favor?
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at
All in
7:04.
favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:04.
I call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7:04. Please join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Before we get to the reading of the first public hearing, I would like to take a second and congratulate our colleague, Ward 6, Diana Holmes, for the wonderful addition to her family. Hope her and Clara May are doing just well. So congratulations, Councilor Holmes.
Yeah, congrats.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Yes, sir. First public hearing pursuant to Section 16-2.2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, as amended to lay out a portion of Hillcrest Avenue as a public way, length of 225 feet from Station 10+00 to Station 13+25, and accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Hillcrest Avenue Extension, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated December 15th, 2021, and revised through April 25th, 2022, prepared by Joyce E. Hastings, RPLS, and Daniel R. Campbell, RPE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Conti, do you see a need to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. I consider this public hearing closed. Madam Clerk, reading of the second communication, please. Public hearing, please.
Second public hearing pursuant to Section 16-2.2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, as amended to lay out a portion of Hillcrest Avenue as a public way, length of 125 feet from Station 13+25 to Station 14+50, and accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all is shown on a plan and profiled entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Hillcrest Avenue Extension 2, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated December 16, 2021, and revised through April 25, 2022, prepared by Joyce E. Hastings, RPLS, and Daniel R. Campbell, RPE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Conti, do you see a need to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
I consider this public hearing closed. We will now entertain a motion to enter into the Committee of the Whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We're now in Committee of the Whole. If anyone has any business to come up in front of the council.
Hi,
Good evening. If you could just provide your name and address for the record, please.
my name is Bethany Rosa. I live at 30 Hillcrest, which is funny because we're having a public hearing about it. So I'm here tonight just as a resident of the city of Attleboro. I've lived here all my life, and I just want to tell you a quick story behind why I'm here. There was a stray cat that came to my house about a month ago that seemed to be crying, and I live on Hillcrest, which has a lot of water, woods, everything, so there's a lot of animals around. This cat seemed to be in need of some help. So I took a picture of it, and I was trying to get some information about what I could do. And I reached out to a few people and got word of a group called the Cat Mafia that operates in Attleboro that helps with these types of things. So I reached out to them, and they were super receptive, and they helped me trap the cat. And they took the cat to the vet at first, just to find out what was wrong with him. And he has a really bad eye, two eyes. One eye is basically, it's gone, so it needs to be removed. And the other eye needs surgery on its own just for the cat to be able to see. In the meantime, we fell in love with the cat. He's a really sweet cat, even though maybe he was feral, maybe he was stray. We checked. He didn't belong to anybody. He's about 4 years old and just a really cool cat. So when they took the cat to the vet and came back with this monstrous bill, we didn't know what we could do, and we just kind of sat down and figured out that we'd be able to raise this money somehow to be able to get this cat completely healed. So we came up with this idea. We sat down with some friends and some community members, and we have an event that's planned for next Saturday, where AJ's Furry Friends Mobile Grooming is going to come and set up his van and cut dogs and cats. He's going to do their nails and clean their ears out of his van. And we contacted the Thompson Realty Group if we could have it at his property, because he's got that big van with a cat on it. And so he's all for it. So he's putting up a tent and going to have like a little breakfast there. And the Cat Mafia is going to have their table with all kinds of information about how, you know, take care of your cats and animals, and going to sell some other items that'll benefit the surgery for him. When we started this, we had no idea that it was really going to take off the way it has. A lot of people have reached out to us and have talked about some issues in the community with cats and animals as a whole. But in the process of all this, a lot of this was through Facebook. And there was a writer that reached out to us. Her name's Dr. Rachel Geller, and she wrote a book about saving the world one cat at a time. And so she, reached out to us, and she made a substantial donation for a surgery. And she also did an online book event where all the proceeds of her book will be donated to a surgery as well. With that information, then County Square Pharmacy got in touch with us and said that they would donate all the medication for Al's surgery. The energy that has surrounded this event has been amazing, and it's brought, like I said, a lot of attention to some bigger issues that are facing the community. But we're just talking about this now because it's been just really interesting meeting a lot of these people and a lot of these women that are here tonight, which, you know, the Cat Mafia is a very small agency, and they operate on a shoestring budget like most nonprofits. And, we've all fostered cats and have tons of cats out of our house, and we're doing the best that we can. So I just brought some information, and I hope that you guys can maybe share it. And I just wanted you to be aware of it. But here's our flyer.
If you have any information, would ask that you just leave it with our administrative assistant, and she'll come out and get it, I'm sure.
Sure. But
yeah,
this is just our flyer that has all the information. But we're having the event this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. right in County Square. And if that's our event.
Excellent.
So,
Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delacio. So, hi, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it very much. Big Al is extremely lucky to have met you. So, I was going to, because you had said next Saturday, but it is this Saturday.
This Saturday,
This
April
Saturday.
20th.
Unfortunately, I will be away. But we'll do a donation. So, is it at the building that's next to Weather Lanes?
yes.
Yes,
Yep.
next to Weather Lanes,
The
okay.
Thomas Realty Group
Yeah,
right there.
okay.
Yep.
And what time was that at?
9 a.m. to
9 a.m.?
12 p.m.
9 to 12, okay. All right, well, great. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming down. I think this is great what you guys are doing, and like I said, rescuing one cat at a time.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I think this is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura, Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down, and thank you for helping Big Al. I've had communications with the Cat Mafia, and they are wonderful people. And actually, Rachel Geller helped me with one of my cats. And I know Bill Thompson's a huge animal lover, and County Square is just amazing people. I hope it goes well. I have the cleanup Saturday, so I won't be able to be there, but I might be able to stop by. But I appreciate everything that you all do, and I have a lot of feral cats in my area, and it's a problem, and that they need to be taken care of.
Well, we're hoping with this event it'll bring some awareness that maybe we could have maybe some TNR groups that might come out and do some education, or even have one of the spay-neuter buses come to Attleboro that
Yeah.
could help people just get their cats fixed and neutered. And so,
Well,
but we're
thank
talking
you.
about it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Councilor Conchi.
Bethany, how high was Big Al's bill?
Substantially high, over $4,000.
Jesus.
1,000? 4,000. He's lucky to have you, Bethany. Your activism is well placed. Cats have been a problem in the city for a long time because they're not included in the animal control sphere, and the stories would curl your hair. I mean,
They have. I was straight a month ago.
I believe it. And I'm happy that you've stepped forward because the city has done nothing to address this cat problem. And the city doesn't have the money to address this cat problem. But you're doing it the right way. Congratulations, good for you.
Thank you.
I just want to ditto that. I mean, I just can't believe how much probably you're going to end up raising, but some small little thing that started and it's turned into something really impressive, but I'm sure a lot of that comes from the person you are and how you interact with other people. It didn't just happen by itself, so good for you.
Thank you. A lot goes to the cat mafia. If it
Well, I'm
wasn't for
sure
them, you know, it wouldn't
Sure.
have gotten this far, so.
Thank you for all that you do, and they do too, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bethany, and thank you, Cat Mafia. You're
Thank you.
doing amazing things, and hopefully we'll be talking about this next year, too.
We will.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council on any piece of business in front of the city? I would entertain a motion to arise from Committee of the Whole.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We've now risen from Committee of the Whole. We will now go into a reading of the mayor's communication.
April 18th, 2023. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Julie Hall, 140 North Main Street, Unit 4D, to the Taxation Aid Committee. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Peter Fellini, 5 Cathedral Drive, to the Planning Board to fill an unexpired term to expire February 2025. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Planning and Development regarding the receipt of a Municipal Energy Technical Assistant, META, grant from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, DEWR, in the amount of $15,000. These funds may be utilized for emergency management-related activities and equipment procurement. The funds will be used to conduct a thermal study of the Fred Bartek Recreation Center. A professional engineering consultant will be procured to perform the work. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments. Copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims, please.
In accordance to Section 5-8, Lease Purchasing Agreement of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve a 36-month lease agreement between Quadient and the City of Attleboro for 1 postage machine and 1 folding machine. Copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims, please.
In order to properly budget and account for wages earned through June 30th, it is necessary to fund the accrued payroll, which historically has been referred to as a 53rd pay week. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $11,451.84 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1124100-578360 Citywide Reserve for compensation 53rd week, and further transfer $136,451.84 to accounts as follows: $4,929.59 to account 1161100-511000, clerk salary and wages; $130,522.25 to account 1210100-51100, police salary and wages.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Attleboro Public Schools Director of Finance, Mark Furtado, regarding the following fiscal year 22 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal year 22 business cycle. Eversource in the amount of $1,414.50. The department would be the business office, and it was received after the year closed. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to authorize the school department to pay these previous year school bills totaling $1,414.50 as identified in Mr. Furtado's communication. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water of Water, Courtney Allen, regarding equipment that the Water Department would like to surplus. There was no interest in this equipment from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition, copies in your packets. We have 4 iPads, and they're in poor condition, and 1 Thermoscientific Orion dual-star PHISE benchtop meter, and that, too, is in poor condition.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Library Director Amy Ringler regarding items that the library would like to surplus. There was no interest in these items from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition, copies in your packets. 2 folding metal coat racks in fair condition. I have 39 computers that are all inoperable. I have 10 computer monitors that work intimately, and 7 printers that are inoperable.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Acting Council on Aging Director Dennis Walsh regarding an organ that the Council on Aging would like to surplus. There was no interest in this organ from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packet. A Lowry Theater with Genie Edition organ, and is in very poor condition.
City Property and Claims, please.
Sincerely, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
I'll be busy, Sarah. We'll now go on to a reading of the clerk's communication, please.
We have received a license renewal application from Polarized New England Company, LLC, doing business as Schnitzer Northeast, located at 136 Bacon Street, for scrap metal recycler junk dealer license.
License Committee, please.
And that concludes the communications for this evening.
Thank you. We'll now go into a reading of the committee reports. We'll begin, as always, with Councilor Waterman.
Yes. Reporting, document is this. Excuse me. Okay. Reporting from the docket of April 4th, 2023. I would move to approve a new Class 2 license application from Attleboro Shell Auto Sales, LLC, 182 Pleasant Street, for 19 customer parking spaces and 10 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Cobus. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, I was impressed by the presentation that we had last week. I realized that there are a lot of cars in that Shell station area, but except for the ones that are there to be fixed on that given day, the new cars, they have their place, 10 of them, 2 rows of 5, right alongside the edge of Starkey Ave. And the other 19 are well set as well. They're in 3 different locations, but they're all in their place. And I do believe that they can do what they're asking to do, and I recommend that we support this license. Thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Mike?
Just one quick one. I did go by as well, and you could tell they did some work.
Thank you.
I'm for this.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And that is all the business that the License Committee has this evening. We'll meet at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works from the docket of April 18th, 2023. I move to transfer $4,000 from account Recreation Lights and Power to account Recreation Rec Grounds.
Second.
Vice President Cobus, motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments. We discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I move to transfer $45,000 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses, and further transfer $45,000 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses to Fund 3224499000 Wastewater SCADA other financing sources.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed in committee, but this is to pay for an outside electrician because they are down 2.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I move to transfer $13,075 from account recreation salary and wages to the following to purchase supplies for fiscal year '23.
Second. Oh, sorry. No, go. Sorry.
$4,075 to account recreation maintenance of rec areas, $9,000 to account recreation rec grounds.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I move to appropriate $100,050 to account wastewater enterprise fund to fund 3223 30-inch sewer main repair to fund the cost of design, bidding, and construction services to repair a 30-inch sewer main that crosses the 10-mile river.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We did discuss in committee, right now it's temporarily fixed, but we need to permanently fix it, so this is what this is for. Clearly, we don't want a sewer pipe leaking.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that's all the business for Public Works Committee, and look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for the Finance Committee from the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to authorize the city to expend $325,000 of ARPA funds on costs associated with the Wading River Pilot Test Phase 2 in order to continue to prepare for a large upgrade to the Wading River Treatment Plant.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Yes, the last 5 words of this motion are very significant. It's going to take $325,000 to get the design work done, but the plant itself is going to be a major expense. We need to do this. The Wading River is a significant source of our quality water in the city of Attleboro. With the water treatment in place, we will be able to sell water to surrounding communities like we currently do to North Attleboro and Rentham. It keeps the system intact and in place, and I highly recommend its passage, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Additional questions, Vice President Cobus.
And this is just so that people are not nervous. The temporary solution is in place. This is to try a different temporary solution prior to sort of spending the money on the long-term solution, in order to try to reduce the manganese levels. So I highly encourage people to support it.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. This is quite the large project. It's an important project, but it's not at a point where we need to be panicking.
Correct.
So thank you for that. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 18th, 2023, I move to authorize the city to expend $800,000 of ARPA funds on costs associated with the sand filter project. The bid for construction to complete the sand filter improvements originally funded by the Honorable Municipal Council in April 2022 is significantly greater than the original appropriation.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
All I can say is ditto. All it takes is money. That concludes my comments.
Additional questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to transfer $13,500 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the citywide previous year bills account to pay an invoice from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for weights and measures inspections done in fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
This is a must-do, so we have to pay it. And that concludes my comments.
Vice President Kovas.
Scrivener's error. Can you just repeat the
Yeah, the
a
number.
dollar amount?
It is $13,500.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to approve it to expend no more than $350,000 from the SPED Stabilization Fund 8507 for unexpected special education transportation costs incurred during the current fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
There's no end to what these expenses can rise to, thanks to the McKinney-Vento transportation bill. We've been fortunate that it's been less than $500,000. I was on the council when the first bill came. It was $140,000 of unexpected expenses. To have the stabilization fund was a brilliant idea, and it certainly eases the pain, and I encourage the councilors to support this measure.
Thank you for your comments. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to transfer $470,000 from Fund 2423-599-000 ARPA funds, other financing uses to Fund 2607-499000 Cape Brown Park Zoo, other financing sources to support the operation of the Cape Brown Park Zoo.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, I'm delighted to report that there is a finance task force assigned to this issue, chaired by former Mayor Kevin Dumas, to review the systemic issues that have plagued the zoo in the past few years, and to come up with potential solutions to get the park zoo up on its feet and able to meet its accreditation on a continuing basis under one plan or another. In the meanwhile, the $470,000 bails them out. And that concludes my comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Councilor Blair.
I'm glad that this new committee has been formed, and I'm sure that, chaired by Kevin Dumas, former mayor, he knows what he's doing, and I look forward to that continuing jewel of the city, as we call it, Cape Park coming back online. We've had some tough years, and in no way do I feel it's a fault of management of the zoo. I think it's the general atmosphere of this country and through the pandemic that's caused this shortfall. And I feel strongly that with the right type of advertisement, the right reaching out there, we can build that zoo back up so we get a revenue that it will self-support itself.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Councilor Conti.
I support Councilor Blair's comments completely. What happens is that the COVID laid bare of the most sensitive financial issues in the city, and the zoo is it. And it took the biggest hit because it's in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
And, as an assessor, I see it across the board. In the meals and rooms and meals tax, took a tremendous dip and then skyrocketed back. So I believe there's a bright future for the zoo, and going forward, because we have bounced back from that pandemic strongly, financially, and I believe the zoo can well. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. I'd like to give up the seat to Vice President Cobus for a minute.
President Delicio?
Thank you. So, Council Conti, Council Bennett, I wholeheartedly agree with your comments. I think it's important to note that what this infusion of cash will do for the zoo will give them an opportunity to operate for the rest of this season, the rest of the fiscal year, while rebuilding the revolving fund. I think when we, and I thought you were going to go down this road, Councilor, which is during the pandemic, the animals stayed in that zoo. And the animals needed food. They needed the electricity for their housing. They needed their medicine. They needed the people to administer that help. So as there was no revenue and no income coming through the door, the expenses didn't stop. So I think there are some fundamental issues. I'm glad to be sitting on the committee with Councilor Reynolds. And I think that, we've had some very good discussion. We just had a meeting earlier this evening. It was the second one of the task force. There's a lot of great minds in that room, and I think we'll be able to come up with a plan which is sustainable and one which will keep the Capron Park Zoo a true gem to the city for decades and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, President Delicio.
Additional questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I move to approve the following. Program year 2023 CDBG entitlement budget for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. The program year 2023 annual action plan, and the authorization to submit said program year 2023 CDBG entitlement and program year 2023 annual action plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before May 15th, 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
I do not. I think Dorothy's, the CDBG director's presentation was pretty thorough, and her position is immensely complicated. There was an issue someone brought up during a committee meeting, and I didn't follow up on it because I didn't have a chance. But I would encourage my councilors to support this. We can review any issues in the year as we go forward. And that concludes my comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I move to appropriate $6,981.69 from the Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the Water Enterprise Fund van purchase account and appropriate $4,654.46 from the Wastewater Enterprise retained earnings account to the Wastewater Enterprise Fund van purchase account due to a price increase of $11,636.15 for a Ford T250 Transit van ordered in December 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, Councilor?
Yes, the year should read 2021.
I'll take that.
So
as a
let's
friendly
call that a
amendment.
Scrivener's error. It was actually voted December 2000. Boy, it took a long time to get that van. And additional comments are that while we don't like this price escalation, if we snooze on this, someone else is going to get the van and we're not. So I would encourage my councilors to support this, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I move in accord with the Attleboro City Charter, Section 6-3D, to adopt the following resolution to adopt the capital improvement program for fiscal year 2024-2028. I'd ask to waive the reading. We read it during the...
So granted. Thank you. Motion is seconded. Motion is now in order. Any comments?
I've begun discussions with the mayor as she is preparing her budget. And as of last Friday, everything looked like everything was in place nicely. But that's happened to me before, so my fingers are crossed. And the free cash was certified this week. The cherry sheets came out. And we're still looking for a balanced budget, which is a challenge, a big challenge. But the capital improvements needs do not go away. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. So the $600,000 that I had mentioned last time, that there was no communication on that, nor was there any vote taken on that for the ADA, for the Recreation Department, all the ADA recommendations?
We did not pass that?
There was no communication, there was no motion, there was no vote. So I realized that putting it in now would make you have to reconfigure all your numbers, but maybe in your discussions with the mayor, you could bring that up, because these are recommendations now, but as we all know, ADA compliance, that they're gonna turn into, you know, something we have to do that's not a recommendation,
So, Council, I'm confused, if I may,
You
Mr.
may.
President. I believe I recall a measure in front of the council to make all playgrounds in the city ADA compliant.
Well, it's not, these are recommendations. It's in the capital improvements book as urgent.
Yes.
So these are nothing that we voted on. We did get, I think there was $181,000 for signage that we got for a grant, but there was nothing, I looked through everything that I had, and Virginia looked as well, and there was nothing found.
Well, I can assure you that as chairman of the Finance Committee, you have my full support for making all playgrounds in the city of Attleboro ADA compliant, available for all children to enjoy.
Yes, not just playgrounds, but yes, I appreciate that, and I know we've had this discussion before. I just wanted to let you know from our discussion last week, there was no motion, there was nothing that I found or that Virginia found that we had voted for anything, because obviously it would have had to come from the mayor's office.
So maybe we should formalize that in the future. I mean, yes, it's in the capital improvement plan, but it's not an urgent.
No, they're all recommendations.
That's right, they're all recommendations and they're not urgent.
Right now.
If
They are
the council-
urgent, but.
If the council wishes to elevate the ADA compliance to an urgent structure, we should do that through a motion on the council floor and vote it through.
Just to bring this back in, I think the motion in front of us is about the resolution,
Yep.
not about voting out a particular.
Right, so last week, just to explain if I could, I had, in the resolution, we state what we want to move to the top or whatever the case is, and I had expressed my concern about the recreation $600,000, and then people had thought we voted,
Yep.
so I just wanted it in here, but I don't want to make anybody go through recalculating all the numbers
Yeah.
in the resolution.
So I would look to Council Conti to, the options in front of you are to keep it as is. We can pull back the second.
Let's keep it as is. I believe the council is behind the measure that Councilor Dolan's
Correct.
talking
I
about.
think that's fair.
And I believe that it's going to see the light of day.
Perfect. Councilor Bennett.
Just one remark, is my understanding is that this is for accessible playgrounds and not ADA compliance, which is a very specific thing. That accessibility had a wider range than ADA compliance, so I just want to make sure that it's on the record, and that's right, that the public understands this is not to make playgrounds ADA compliant, but to make them accessible to children with all different needs and people of all different needs.
Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote with Councilor Blair. Councilor Blair, oh wait, I'll let you do that.
Okay, thanks. You're a real chump. Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds. Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett. Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the business that the Finance Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Councilor Bennett.
Transportation and Traffic has no business this evening, but we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time. And I'd like to call ordinances and legislative matters. We have one item for the council this evening. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I move to approve the following ordinance change in Chapter 19 Stormwater Management and request to waive the reading.
So
Second.
granted.
Thank you.
Motion's been seconded and is now in order. Any comments?
No comments. We discussed this at length in committee last week, and there was only one small clarification made to the language in the last paragraph 6.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you, motion passes.
That concludes the business for ordinances and legislative matters for this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Vice President Cobus.
IT and infrastructure does not have a business tonight, and we call for committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor Conti for zoning and land use, please.
The zoning and land use reporting to the council this evening is canceled. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee from the docket of April 18th, 2023. I move to declare the following police department vehicles as surplus and available for disposition for trade-in or to sell: a 2014 Ford Utility Explorer and a 2015 Ford Utility Explorer. They're both in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
I have none.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this requires a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you, motion passes.
From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to appropriate $27,500 from account undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to account citywide building renovations to convert the election office storage area to office space.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
I have none.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you, motion passes.
That is all the business City Property and Claims has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, motion, Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. From the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to approve the confirmation of the following reappointments. Lee Gazelle, Board of Park Commissioners, 5 years, February 2028. Albert Richmond, Disability Commission, 3 years, February 2026. Christopher Quinn, Health Officer, 1 year, February 2024. Kevin Smith, Cable Advisory Commission, 1 year, February 2024.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed in committee.
Okay, thank you. This requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
For the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to approve the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Peter Mello, City Solicitor, 1 year, February 2024. Catherine Merkel, Zoning Board of Appeals, 3 years, February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
We discussed in committee.
Okay, additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this also requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of April 18, 2023, I move to accept the generous donation of 12 3x5 American flags valued at a total of $300 from Eric J. Purcell, Exalted Ruler, Attleboro Elks, Lodge 1014, to the Veterans Department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
We have Eric in the audience, and we want to thank him again very much. And This is wonderful, and the Elks do a great job for the community. So thank you, Eric.
Councilor Blair.
I'd like to congratulate Eric on the past year. His exalted rule at the Elks, he did a great job, and we really appreciate the donation he's made in the Elks' name to the Veterans Department with the flag. They've always been there for us, and Eric made sure they were there again this year. Thank you.
Just one last comment, and a great job at the wing fling this weekend for a great cause. So thank you very much for that as well.
Thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Eric, thank you very much for all you do. Thank you for this generous donation. This also requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I move to approve the appointment of Mayor Kathleen DeSimone to unexpired term on the Board of Surrey Memorial Hospital, term to expire December 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed it in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all we have for the Personnel, Veteran, and Human Services Committee, and we call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Blair.
Public Safety Emergency Management has no business this evening, Madam Mr. President, but request a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Concha, would you like to call for senior tax abatement?
I would. Reporting for the Committee on Senior Tax Abatements, we would like to have a committee at the next appropriate time.
Thank you.
But we have no business for tonight.
Councilor Angelo.
And we have no business for
Classification.
classification services, so I call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. There is no old business, there is no new business, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:51.
You won.